The Play's the Thing, with your host, Judy Sleed. Special guest, Warren McKnight, street entertainer of royalty. Underwritten by Windmill Village, Gurney's Inn, and Paul Brennan. And now here's Judy.
Hello once again to The Play's the Thing. And today I have a musician as my guest. And help me welcome, isn't that funny? I forgot your name from over there.
I forgot yours today out here. Warren McKnight.
Warren
McKnight.
I should remember that my nephew's name is Warren. Well, it's because I really never met you in person. I've seen you on television. And you were so wonderful, I just decided I wanted to have you on my show and find out all about you. Well, before you play anything, I'd like to know where you're from, where you live. Do you live in the Hamptons?
I live in a 100-year-old farmhouse in Riverhead next to a beautiful meadow and a wild cornfield, I call it a wild cornfield, next to a buffalo ranch.
So, and you lived there for a long time?
Only 6 years.
And before that?
Well, I used to live in a town called Wading River, which is also in the township of Riverhead, for 30 years. And but when my one son got married and him and his wife made us grandparents, my wife and I, we moved out and bought this old farmhouse. And my wife, she loves to restore and decorate things and have things, works in progress. Like me, she calls it work in progress, you know.
Yeah, I was just going to say that she could remodel me also. So you are from around here originally?
In 1943, my mother gave birth. She was hoping I would be Kathleen, but I came out with the wrong equipment, so she called me Warren. And I spent all my summers in Flanders since I was a boy in 1943. And then in 1969, I moved out to Riverhead.
Where did you spend your winters?
Ridgewood, Queens.
Oh, Queens. I was trying to get to the origin of your name.
Yeah.
So you're from Queens.
A lot of fond memories. I used to play at the German-Hungarian bar at a restaurant on probably on Underdunk Avenue.
What avenue?
Underdunk Avenue in Ridgewood. I used to play at the German-Hungarian bar and restaurant there.
What did you play, banjo?
Well, mostly I played guitar then, and sometimes I'd have to wear lederhosen, you know.
So how did you get this? When did you first start playing? Let's say, how old were you?
Well, I remember once I was looking out my window, and I was actually peeking through the blinds. My mother had the blinds drawn, and this man came up with a banjo and a banjo case in front of this 6-family tenement house. And he took out the banjo and he played it. And he played a few songs, and nobody came to the window because people used to throw out change. They used to roll up change, sometimes change with $1, and everybody would throw out when these street musicians would go into backyards or in front of buildings. And he played his banjo, and nothing happened. He just put it up in the case and walk away. And then I always remembered that, and it had such an effect on me that when I was 12 years old, I wanted to play the banjo.
Banjo, so...
I was driven.
So you asked your mother to buy your banjo?
No, they would never buy me a banjo, and it's because we weren't that rich.
So where did you get the banjo?
So I deposit bottles, doing chores. It's a long story. And I still couldn't get a banjo because I saved enough money, $12.45 to get a guitar. I took the subway from Ridgewood, Queens into Manhattan and went to the Bowery and looked in the hock shops, and I saw a guitar for $12.50. So I told the man I only had $12.45, and he took it.
Because you needed the nickel for what, to go back home?
Well, I needed the money to go back home. Yes, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was, the subways were a nickel then, right?
Well, at this time it was a dime. It was in the 1956, 57. It was a dime
was a
then. It was
dime.
a dime then. Yes.
Good
yes.
old days. So you got yourself a
Guitar.
and you taught yourself how to play?
Yes, very tedious, very, I was determined. I wasn't very gifted, but I was very determined. And I just practiced and practiced and drove everybody crazy and got books and this and that and what have you. And yes, so then from there I was in a local teenage band. We used to play around American Legion halls and everything else. And then when I made some money in the band, I took some guitar lessons and they taught me music theory. And then I still couldn't get a banjo, and then I got married, I still couldn't get a banjo because all the money was always going out. But finally in 1980 I opened a music store, and I bought banjos and I would sell them, but I couldn't buy any more, so I got a banjo kit. So I got this kit. And today this would cost about $2,000, but I got this kit wholesale for this banjo for $200.
A kit?
A kit, and they just put it together. Yeah, like an erector set, you know.
Oh, really?
Or Legos, yeah, so.
Well, I don't know anything about banjos. I know a little bit about guitars because my children played guitar.
Oh.
They just strummed. I mean, they're not professional. It was just a hobby. So so you are basically self-taught.
Yes, I'm self-taught, but play very unorthodox and driven. And the banjo is so magical. It captivates people. You can't play sad songs on the banjo. And the banjo is designed, there's so many reasons it was designed, especially these type of banjo I have, to be heard over everything and to penetrate sounds. The guitar, they could never do that until they had amplification. But the banjo was able to do that years ago, and that's why it became so popular. You know?
Well, I'm learning something new. I didn't know, at first, I didn't even know there was a difference between a guitar and a banjo. What is the difference?
Well, first of all, the banjo has a very high tone, but this particular banjo has a chrome tone ring and has a resonator, so it just rings out. You hear it?
Let's hear one of your songs. I'd love to hear.
Okay, I'm going to give you a history of the banjo. As we say here, I want you to think back. And for every good thing or every bad thing that happens in life, there are also good things. And the way for good things, because when I play on the streets and I play in fancy hotels, I played for millionaires. I was at the Montauk Shore Club the other day, millionaires, and they don't even exchange money out there. And I played for them, they paid me handsomely. But the whole thing with music, it does save the soul and the spirit. Now the banjo was created by the American Negro slaves that were brought over here. You notice this banjo has 5 strings. And this instrument was created to make people feel good and get rid of all evil in them. And that was their secret weapon for the African American slaves, to free themselves. And they did free themselves. And while they had these 5 strings on a banjo, they had these songs, all the songs they write yesteryear and many today are the more sophisticated. But years ago, the songs they brought over had 5 notes. And if you look at the piano, you'll see 5 beautiful ebony keys that demonstrate the beautiful color of the African American people. And those 5 notes, if you go on those 5 notes, you could play so many beautiful songs. And one of the first beautiful songs that made people good was this West African song with 5 notes that converted a slave captain to give up his thing and put words to this song called Amazing Grace. You could play Amazing Grace with the 5 ebony keys on a piano. So I like to play Amazing Grace because that is a song I played today for a woman on the streets who was an elderly woman, but she was expecting a baby, and she said, "Pray for me." And I'm not a religious man, but I said I would. But I sang this song to her, and she held herself here, and she was concerned because she was with child. and she was worried about the outcome. This is a song that the African slaves sang as they were suffering in chains below the decks, and that converted this captain. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Well, I once was lost, but now I've found. Was blind, but now I see. Well, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Well, I once was lost, but now I found. Was blind, but now I see.
Oh, that was just beautiful, wonderful. I noticed that you also put two different styles to that song as you were doing it.
Well,
That's called arrangements, right?
well, let's put it this way. I play what I feel, and I feel what I play, and as I was playing and thinking, and I was just improvising like we're doing. We're improvising like the jazz music or the blues music or any type of folk music. So I added a little bit of variety to it.
Which is great. It sounded wonderful.
Well,
Yes.
it's the banjo is inspiring for the simple reason it does make me very happy. Anytime, and anybody who says they're happy all the time is fibbing, you know. But anytime I'm sad and I play the banjo, I can honestly say it makes me happy, and it makes other people remarkably happy. That's amazing, yeah.
It's wonderful to listen to, especially the way you play and sing. Very entertaining. Very entertaining. So, did you ever, I'm sure you did, you had written some songs yourself, I'm sure?
Well, I wrote a few songs in here and there, but I'm an entertainer, and I try to play what makes people, motivates people, makes them happy. And I seem to hit it right on mark when I play different songs. I tried, and I'm a man of the people, and I try to explain songs. So I've written a few songs, but mostly instrumentals, and occasionally I might have wrote a song or two with words in it. But my main thing is when I play for people, it touches them. And they tell me their stories, and some of the stories are really remarkable, and vice versa. When I ask people to join in with me, that I've known over the years, and it's just how the music is the flower of feeling, just touches so many people and opens up their lives and my life. And I can give you, I'd say, literally hundreds or thousands of stories of what these songs, basic songs, done. And you could just, if you say yes, tell me, I will.
Well, not 100,000, just one.
Okay.
One song that you really like, with a story, you said?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
This is a song I think I played on Lois's show, but I have to play it over and over again. And it reminds me of you, too, because you have a very nice European accent.
Oh, thanks.
And I think last fall, I was playing out in Greenport. And I was just packing up my instrument and going about my way, and this woman came to me, and she had an accent. I think she was from Germany, but she's been here a good part of her life. And she said to me, "Can you play me one song before you go?" I said, "Of course." So I played this song for her, and she cried. And I'll tell you why she cried afterwards. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I held you in my arms, but I awoke, dear, and was mistaken. So I hung my head and I cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. I cut it short because I have to tell you that what she said to me, this woman, she said to me, I said, "Why are you crying?" She says, "When I was 5 years old in Germany after the war, the American soldiers would sing to me, and they taught me that song, and they would give me
sweet.
food and, you know, and candy and stuff." Exactly. So it brought tears to her eyes. And so that was a powerful thing. And not only is that song powerful as far as that goes, the person that wrote that song, and during a dismal time in the world, in the 1930s during the Depression and the rise of fascism and Nazism and everything else, and the total war and stuff, the guy that wrote that song, Jimmy Davies, he lived to be 107. He died in the year 2001. He's a great songwriter. Bing Crosby made the song cross over from country music to popular music in 1940. This guy was such an upbeat guy, this Jimmy Davies. He didn't belong to the Democratic or Republican Party, but he ran for governor in Louisiana twice. Once in the 1940s and once in the 1960s, and he won. And he was governor of Louisiana. And during the 1960s, during the Civil Rights Movement, he smoothed things over in Louisiana to do what was right. And he was so well liked by the people of Louisiana that the governor and all the other governors and the people, he had a house behind the governor's mansion. And he died there in the year 2001. So isn't it remarkable what stories can say? Yeah?
It's remarkable that you know all these stories, you know, histories of songs. It is not only that you play well, but you dug into the history of songs. It is really, that's very remarkable, I think.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's history or anything else. And just like, I can't help thinking of you, but I don't, on a guitar I might know some Hungarian songs or...
Do you?
No, not on the banjo, but on the guitar I might. But I don't know any right now.
I'm going to have to teach you some songs.
Yes. Well, you know, I was so, I'm digressing, but when they had their uprising back in the
60s.
I was so upset, you know, and I was so, I think everybody admired the Hungarian people for standing up to tyranny.
I'm surprised that you remember that as an American.
We had a boy, I met a boy who came over here from Hungary, and he went to our grammar school at the time, and I admired him so much. He was very timid and everything else because he was in a strange land. But to see people do that and to hope for liberty and to never lose that hope, you know, it's remarkable.
Hope that's holding us. I written a song once about hope.
Really? Tell me.
Yes. I'm not going to sing it.
Yeah, well.
I'll let you. I'll tell you about it afterwards, but it's very funny you said that. But also what you said in the very beginning about you learning to play an instrument that you felt you were not very talented, but you are determined.
Oh, yes, yes.
Which tells me so much about people wanting to do something. It's not so much the talent, it's the determination when you want to do something.
Oh, yes, yes.
It's with everything, and I hope, you know, we could pass this information on to all the youngsters.
Oh,
to,
yes.
To know if the, you know, if you want to achieve something, it's how much time and effort you put into it.
Very powerful. I think one of the most powerful things in the world are the children, no matter where you meet
Yes.
them. Oh, remarkable. I have to tell you another story, because I do nursing homes. And one of these, before I did the nursing home, I did a show at the Vale Levitt Music Theater. And it was during the winter break, and a bunch of little children came in. And so I got some of them to come up on this beautiful stage in this old theater, and this little girl, she sang "You Are My Sunshine," and she sang it so well, and so out loud in such nice tones. And I think she said to me, she says, "You know, I'm only 4 years old and I sang that song." Now, I didn't think much of it, but I said, "Boy, she is spunky and proud, and she sang that so well." And that afternoon, I was in this concert nursing home in Smithtown. And I go from room to room. They hire me over the years. And I perform in each room. And I went into this one woman's room, and she laid there. And she sang the same song, "You Are My Sunshine." And after she sang it, and she sang it so powerful and so well and everything else, and she goes, "Do you know I'm 94 years old?"
Oh, wow.
Yes.
4 and 94.
Yeah, so it's really remarkable, you know, the music and touching people's lives and people touching my lives, you know what I mean? Even before I came out here today, I was playing in front of the East End Coffee House in Riverhead, and so many people, like one guy just pats me on the back, and he's got a hearing aid. He works in this health food store, and he was going to get his ride on the bus for a special thing. Then I told you about that pregnant woman, and her name was Anita, and you know, as far as that goes, and how she, you know, did something, and how another person just this afternoon, she was a remarkable woman. In fact, she had this hair with very coarse braided, like the Jamaican people, Caribbean people does. But she was a Caucasian woman, and she was walking past, and she smiled, and I was playing outside, and then she stopped, and she came back. She says, "I want to listen." I said, "Fine, you want to listen?" She says, "My father used to sing that song, 'My Blue Heaven.'" I don't play always out. So she, you know, and stuff like that, and you know, the stories can go on and on. Like when I play in Greenport, over the years I played for this one fellow. He was in his mid-30s. He had cerebral palsy. And he couldn't walk right, and this and that and everything else. And I used to play, and he'd give me a picture of him, and I'd give a picture of me. And one of these times, his parents knew they could trust me. They said, "We want to go in the store. Could you keep an eye on him?" So I said, "Sure." So we keep an eye. So he's out there. I said, "Well, I never asked him this. I've known him for 10 years, and I've been playing." I said, "Will you sing a song with me?" And he sang a song with me, you know. You know, I think we sang "This Land Is Your Land," and he went, "This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking this ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me a golden valley. This land was made for you and me." Well, I roamed and rambled and followed my footsteps to the silver sands of the burning desert, and all around me a voice kept saying, "This land was made for you and me. This land is your land.
that was just wonderful, beautiful. You know, while the word man, I know the words. I was singing too.
Yeah.
I don't know if it came through.
Yes.
I was going to ask you, is every song you do in the same key?
A lot of the songs I do, very perceptive. You are a musician, you're trained in music?
Yes.
Okay. Usually in 2 keys. I do this way, sign language, key of G, which has 1 sharp, because a lot of times you have to communicate in a noisy place with different musicians. And the key is C, which doesn't have any sharp.
Well, that's interesting because is that a different tone than any other instrument?
Well, that's another reason that you should ask me about the banjo, especially if I play for hours on ends in the streets, or if I have to do a performance in a nursing home and go from the bottom floor to the top and just try and see people that want to see me. I get very tired, so when this is tuned to an open G chord, so you could play songs one-handed without working much.
So I could talk to you for hours. The half hour is just about up. And I would like to thank you for coming. And I want to thank my underwriters, Paul Brennan, the Gurney's Inn, and the Windmill. And going to say goodbye, everybody. Don't forget to tune in. The Play is the Thing. You want to say goodbye to
Goodbye, goodbye.
The Play is the Thing. You could reach us in Riverhead and in New York City also.
Good. Today is Flag Day, you know. June
It's
14th.
Flag Day.